In 2023, we think that the economic contraction will be 0.4% of GDP, so minus 0.4%, if the aid levels continue as per 2022 levels. That is $3.7 billion a year. If aid goes down, we will have a much larger contraction in GDP that may reach 3 and even more than 3% of GDP. So that is the overall picture. And all these elements, bans on female work, impacting international aid, and also impacting the labor market. If we think that if we take men out of the workforce, if we take women out of the workforce, they will be replaced automatically by men, that is economically wrong, theoretically wrong, and practically wrong. There is no perfect substitution between men and women in the labor force. So please, let's take this idea from our heads that if we put women at home, all men will be employed. It will only be much higher unemployment. The ban on female work has very negative consequences. Not because we will lose the gender sensitivity in our decisions, which is very important for us to have our female colleagues advising us, in exchanging with us what type of policies Afghanistan needs. But you may have noticed that 70% of the population heard of international assistance through UN and international NGOs. Large part of that information is because of our female colleagues who can knock on the door and talk to Afghan women. Now, if we don't have those female colleagues, who will knock on the door and provide support and talk to Afghan women in their homes? So the impact is much larger than 17,000 staff, female staff, leaving the workforce. They are not leaving the workforce. For now, they are working from home, and they will continue to be UN staff, and they will continue to be paid, and they will continue to be very active. But the impact on Afghan population is what we are concerned with.
I can assure you that there is a willingness on the part of the international community to continue to support Afghan people. However, I have to say, very unfortunately, the Taliban policies are making it very difficult. Particularly, those restrictions on women's freedom and rights to work and education. I hope that the Taliban adjust those policies, and when they start to give a better governance for the entire population of Afghanistan, there will be an opening for a much broader economic cooperation. And finally, I would just like to say that I hope that the publication of this report will provide the opportunities for deeper discussion with Taliban on the economic policies and social policies as well.
We believe it's also time to focus on more sustainable projects, especially on banking, private sector, and employment to help the Afghan people recover from this dire situation. We also cannot emphasize in this regard enough that this requires the full cooperation and facilitation by the local authorities on every level. And I do want to underscore the word facilitation by all local authorities on every level. We hope we could pave the way together to achieve more prosperous and sustainable economic conditions for the Afghan people.
But that's the latest we have that has a poverty estimate, the Income, Expenditure and Labor Force Survey. What we have is, as Violeta said, the whole of Afghanistan survey. And what we did was we took the poverty rate in 2020 at expenditure level, which in 2020 was per person, per month, should have been about $29. that many Afghanis. And then they ended up with a poverty rate of 47.5%. So we asked the question in our data, how many people are below that threshold today? And we found them, it has climbed up to 87%. This is a very high number.
پژواک خبری اژانس د پیښو ریښتینې هنداره